I mentioned this survey earlier today, this global fund manager survey. So one of the questions was about the economy. Only 5% of global fund managers see the global economy hitting a hard landing. But keep in mind, of that, the U.S. is the healthiest and strongest among them. And yet every day brings another article about recession and stagflation and charts. And apparently the risk is through the roof. Of course, just in time for the FOMC meeting, which wraps up tomorrow. I'm going to bring in now Independent Institute, their senior fellow, Judy Shelton. Judy, always wonderful seeing you. Before we start talking about the nitty gritty of the Fed, just what is your assessment of the economy? Because to be quite frank, it felt like not only were we firing on all cylinders, but we were building some pretty good momentum into the Iran conflict.
Absolutely. I think we were poised for growth. I think we still are poised for growth. And when we get through this, it'll be even better because we will have eliminated such a threat. And I think that energy prices will come back down. So I applaud the courage of the leader of the United States to take on this problem. And I think everyone is just praying that things turn out well soon.
It's amazing that you said that because, Wall Street, they like to have fun, the anti-Trumpers with the so-called taco trade. But no presidents before him have had the guts to take on these hard issues, right? And when they wrap them up, they're so bitter that for the most part, they're successful. And this will be wrapped up. And so tomorrow, when the Fed's discussing this, and some have said, well, the Fed can't cut rates because of oil. Over the weekend, I did a lot of research. I read some white papers on sort of what they call look through, what you economists call look through. And essentially, it's like this should not be a major issue with respect to rates tomorrow, should it?
No, it really shouldn't. And that I think also testifies to the sincerity of the president in taking on this battle. Others wouldn't. And he refuses to kick the can down the road. The last thing he wanted was higher energy prices. We know that the whole idea of transitioning the economy to focusing on the private sector was to help bring down energy prices, which affect prices throughout the real economy. So he didn't want this battle, but it needed to be waged. And I think that the Fed's view, and it would be nice if the chairman would go ahead and testify before Congress, as he's required to do, but is refusing to do.
Right.
But the Fed's framework might say, oh, well, it could be inflationary, in which case we have to keep rates higher. But at the same time, you could argue that it might have a weakening effect on the economy, and so then they have to reduce it. Normally, they reduce when there's uncertainty, but you just can't really predict the Fed. They haven't had a consistent narrative, but I think they should look through it, and hopefully it won't be long until we're back to low energy prices.
Speaking of the current chair and predicting things, there's a lot of chatter about Powell staying on after he loses the chairmanship. I think that would be an unmitigated disaster and an obvious political move, but I'd like your thoughts on it.
Oh, I think it's been political from the get-go, the fact that he's been so coy about this. And we've seen from some of the legal documents that were filed on his behalf that it's almost down to sort of an extortion. Drop all these potential requirements for me to have to report to the Department of Justice, and then I'll go quietly. And I know nobody wants to rock the boat, but I think it's a shame that we have senators now having to walk on eggs to appease Powell because they're just thinking, we just want him to go. We'd like to have Warsh come in.
Right.
But I think it's a shame that it's come to this.
Right.
And I don't like the Fed chairman fighting rule of law when he's been served a requirement to provide more information on the cost overruns.
Although not all senators are walking on eggs. Some are like a bull in a china shop. This Tom Tillis is out of his mind.
I'm surprised.
He's gone out in a cloud of smoke. I mean, this dude is up. Why is he so upset? Well, he's got a burr somewhere. He's sitting on a burr somewhere. Talk to me about this.
Maybe he feels liberated because he's going to be done with his political career. But boy, for a good person to go to the mat to defend what I do not consider a lofty cause, to ensure that there's total discretionary authority for central bankers, that is really not the role envisioned for Congress by our founders. And I do not think that's what he should be defending, but that's where he's chosen to make his stand.
So when we do eventually get the wash Fed, what's the number one thing that you'd like to see done? Forget about cutting and hiking and all that stuff. Is there something we can do fundamentally to make this a fairer operation for the American public?
I think the only legitimate function of having a central bank is to serve as lender of last resort. And we're talking about where you have to deploy the airbags to prevent further injury in the case of an economic financial collision. But what we want to do is reduce the footprint of the Fed. They should not be so prevalent. They should not have so much authority that you have a whole cottage industry of analysts just waiting on every word that they utter. And it was Chair Powell who insisted on having these press conferences after every meeting. And I just think that causes more of a disruption and too large a profile for the central. I'd rather have free markets determining the cost of capital in a private enterprise economy.
Judy, if I had a tambourine, I would have been playing it the whole time you were talking. Thank you. Amen, sister. Amen. Thank you so much.
I'm honored to be on the same page as you, Charles.
Awesome, boy. Thank you so much.